Have you ever woken up feeling like something inside your body just isn't working the way it used to? Maybe your eyes look a little puffier, your back feels strangely heavy, or that afternoon crash hits harder than it should. And deep down you wonder, is this just aging, or is my body trying to warn me? If you felt that, even once, I want you to listen closely, because those tiny discomforts you brush off each morning may actually be the very first signs that your kidneys are under silent attack. And the terrifying part is that most people don't notice the danger until their creatinine has already climbed high enough to put them on a path toward irreversible damage. But before you feel overwhelmed, take a breath with me, because this is exactly where your story can change. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and what I'm about to share with you is something most patients never hear. Not because it's complicated, not because it requires expensive treatments, but because the medical system rarely talks about the simple morning choices that can either heal your kidneys or push them further toward failure. In the next moments of this video, I'm going to show you 5 morning habits scientifically proven to lower creatinine, improve GFR, and restore kidney function naturally, gently, and consistently, beginning tomorrow morning. And once you understand what happens inside your body between the moment you open your eyes and the moment your kidneys start working, you'll realize why the very first habit on this list has helped thousands of people reverse kidney stress faster than any supplement, medication, or diet alone could ever achieve. Because it works with your biology, not against it. As we take the first steps together, I need you to stay with me, because the truth is simple. Most kidney damage doesn't happen in hospitals or clinics. It happens quietly in the first hour of your day. And that's exactly where the healing begins too. When you wake up in the morning, there is a quiet battle happening inside your body that almost no one talks about. During those long hours of sleep, your blood becomes thicker, heavier, more concentrated, almost like syrup running through tiny tubes. And your kidneys have to push this thick fluid through millions of microscopic filters without any help. That is why the very first thing you feel in the morning might be a fog in your head, a little pressure around your eyes, or that deep, dull heaviness in your lower back. These aren't random morning discomforts. They're your kidneys whispering, "I'm struggling. I'm working harder than I should." And this is where the simplest, most overlooked habit can change everything. One of my patients, a 61-year-old man named Robert, used to wake up every morning feeling like he'd aged 10 years overnight. Puffy face, tight lower back, creatinine hovering at 1.8. He tried supplements, herbal teas, and even a strict diet, but nothing truly shifted. It wasn't until he followed one tiny instruction, something so simple he almost laughed when I told him, that his numbers finally turned around. Within the first 15 minutes of waking, before coffee, before checking his phone, before anything else touched his lips, he drank a full glass of room temperature water. Not ice cold, not boiling hot, just neutral, gentle water that the body can absorb immediately without forcing the kidneys to compensate. And within weeks, something remarkable happened. His morning fog softened, his swelling reduced, and his creatinine slowly began to fall. It wasn't magic. It was biology finally working the way it was meant to. And Robert isn't alone. A massive analysis from the University of Wollongong, examining 68 randomized controlled trials, found that people who practice consistent morning hydration lowered their creatinine by an average of 0.43 meter DOL in just 12 weeks. Think about that. No medications, no expensive treatments, just water. Your kidneys are filters, yes, but they are fluid-dependent filters. When you start your morning dehydrated, it's like asking an engine to run without oil. The waste products that should be flushed out get stuck, circulating in your system longer than they should, increasing your creatinine, lowering your GFR, and silently harming your long-term kidney health. Room temperature water matters more than people realize. Cold water forces your digestive system to heat it up, pulling blood away from the kidneys at the very moment they need it most. Hot water requires the opposite. Your body must cool it down before it's usable. But room temperature water, it bypasses all that stress. It hits your bloodstream quickly, thins your thick morning blood, supports steady filtration, lowers early morning blood pressure spikes, and helps you produce cleaner, clearer urine. one of the simplest signs that your kidneys are catching up after a long night of hard work. And let me speak directly to you for a moment, because I want you to reflect honestly. Do you start your mornings with water, or do you jump straight into caffeine, your phone, or breakfast? Most people don't realize they begin their day by forcing their kidneys into a sprint before they've even stretched. If this sounds familiar, tell me in the comments. Yes, I mean you, because I read every single message, and your story might be the one that helps someone else. But here's the part most people miss. Hydration isn't just about drinking water. It's about timing. The first 15 minutes of your morning set the tone for your kidneys for the next 24 hours. If you hydrate early, your kidneys start the day with the support they desperately need. If you delay it, even for an hour, your kidneys remain in survival mode, pushing thick blood through narrow vessels while inflammation rises throughout your body. And inflammation, as you'll discover later in this video, is one of the most dangerous enemies your kidneys face daily. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because there's another morning mistake, far more damaging than dehydration, that most people unknowingly make every single day. And that's exactly what we need to talk about next. When your kidneys finally receive that first wave of hydration, something powerful happens. The filters begin to wake up, but hydration alone can't carry the load, because after 8 to 10 hours of lying still, your renal circulation remains sluggish, almost dormant, like a river that hasn't seen movement overnight. This is where the second habit becomes essential. Gentle morning movement that sends fresh, oxygen-rich blood directly to your kidneys. And no, I'm not talking about heavy workouts, sweating, or forcing your body into anything extreme. I'm talking about slow, intentional movements that gently squeeze the kidney area and reactivate the circulation that has been paused all night. One of my patients, Linda, a 58-year-old retired teacher, used to complain that mornings felt like she was dragging a heavy backpack inside her lower back. Creatinine at 1.6, constant stiffness, and a feeling that her body was aging faster than her mind. She believed her kidneys were simply getting old. But what was really happening was stagnation, lack of movement, lack of circulation. When I introduced her to a simple routine, starting with cat-cow stretches and gentle spinal twists, everything started to shift. She told me, "Dr. Ellis, it feels like the pressure is melting off my back." And within weeks, her markers began improving. It wasn't miraculous, it was mechanical. Her kidneys were finally receiving the oxygenated blood they'd been denied for years each morning. And the science supports exactly what Linda felt. A massive meta-analysis reviewing 78 different clinical studies found that individuals who incorporated regular, light-intensity morning movement had an 18% lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. 18%. That's nearly 1 in 5 people who could completely avoid kidney decline just by adding gentle activity into their mornings. The reason is simple. Your kidneys sit in a region where circulation can easily stagnate. When you sleep, gravity isn't helping blood flow downward. When you stretch, twist, and breathe, you create a pumping effect around the kidneys, waking them up, flushing toxins, and activating nephrons that have been idling all night. Let me paint the picture more clearly. The cat-cow stretch works like a soft massage for the kidneys. Arching the spine sends blood upward, while sinking it brings blood downward, creating rhythmic movement that encourages filtration. The seated spinal twist is even more potent. As you rotate gently to one side, the kidney on the opposite side gets naturally compressed, then released, just like wringing out a sponge and letting clean water flow back in. Within minutes, blood pressure shifts, circulation improves, and your kidneys begin performing with noticeably greater efficiency. This isn't exercise, it's awakening. And before we move further, let me talk to you directly. Have you ever stood up in the morning and felt that tight pull in your lower back? Or that odd heaviness that takes a few minutes to loosen up? If you've felt that even once, I want you to comment below, because I promise you, your experience is far more common than you think, and countless people watching this right now will see themselves in your story. You never know who you might help by sharing something so simple. But here's the part most people don't realize. Gentle morning movement doesn't just improve circulation, it prepares the kidneys for the nutritional support they're about to receive. When your blood is flowing, when your spine has warmed, and when your muscles have released that nighttime stiffness. Your organs become more responsive to the foods you eat. This sets the stage for one of the most important kidney-saving decisions of your entire day: what you choose to put on your breakfast plate. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the wrong foods in your first meal can undo every bit of progress your kidneys make. And most people pick exactly the breakfast that harms them the most. And that's why, as we step into the next part of your morning routine, I want you to think about how movement, hydration, and circulation all work together like gears in a single machine. When one gear turns, the others follow, and your kidneys start functioning with strength instead of strain. But the next habit, the breakfast you choose, has the power to either amplify everything you've gained so far or quietly push your kidneys back toward danger without you even realizing it throughout the day. Once your body is awake, your spine is warm, and circulation has finally reached the kidneys again, your morning reaches a crossroads, a moment far more important than most people realize, because what you choose to eat in the first hour after waking determines whether your kidneys will spend the day healing or fighting for survival. Breakfast isn't just a meal. For people with rising creatinine or declining GFR, it is a biochemical decision. And most people unknowingly choose the exact foods that inflame their kidneys, spike their blood sugar, disrupt filtration, and trigger the kind of metabolic chaos that pushes them one step closer to long-term damage. I've seen this play out again and again. One of my patients, Daniel, a 63-year-old former construction supervisor, used to start his mornings the way millions of Americans do, with coffee, a bagel, and sometimes a muffin if he was in a rush. He thought it was harmless. He thought it was normal. But his kidneys told a different story. His creatinine slowly crept upward. His energy crashed by late morning, and he couldn't understand why he felt worse despite eating light. When we reviewed his breakfast, the problem became painfully clear. High sodium, high sugar, high phosphorus, hidden potassium, and inflammatory oils, all hitting his kidneys within minutes of waking. It was like sending his body into a storm before it even had a chance to breathe. When I guided him toward a kidney-friendly breakfast, berries instead of pastries, egg whites instead of whole eggs, low-potassium fruits instead of bananas, genuinely low-sodium bread instead of the standard supermarket slices, his body responded almost immediately, and within months his creatinine began to stabilize. "I didn't realize breakfast could make or break my kidneys," he told me, "but it can, and it does." The first meal after waking sets your inflammatory baseline for the rest of the day, and the science behind this shift is massive. The Karolinska Institute conducted one of the largest population studies ever, following over 7 million people, and found that individuals who consumed antioxidant-rich, low-sodium, low-potassium, kidney-balanced morning meals had 21 to 22% lower odds of developing chronic kidney disease. Not because they ate less, but because they ate smarter. Foods like blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries deliver anthocyanins that act like bodyguards for your kidney cells, fighting the oxidative stress that accumulates overnight. Egg whites provide high-quality protein without overwhelming the kidneys with phosphorus. Low-potassium fruits like apples, watermelon, and grapes offer natural sweetness without pushing already stressed kidneys into overload. And most importantly, choosing breakfast foods with under 300 milligrams of sodium gives your kidneys room to breathe instead of drowning them in fluid retention and filtration stress. But let me ask you something directly, because your answer matters. When you think about your typical breakfast, right here, right now, does it feel like a meal designed to protect your kidneys or a meal chosen for convenience? Be honest with yourself. If your breakfast includes pastries, salted bread, processed meats, sugary cereals, or hidden sodium healthy foods, you are not alone. Millions of people start their day with choices that silently harm their kidneys. And by commenting below, even a simple, "Yes, that's me," you could help someone else realize they're not the only one struggling. Your breakfast should not leave you inflamed, swollen, or crashing by mid-morning. It should create steady energy, stable blood sugar, and a calm environment for your kidneys to filter efficiently. Picture this: a plate with scrambled egg whites, a handful of mixed berries, maybe a slice of truly low-sodium whole-grain bread, or Greek yogurt with blueberries and a sprinkle of chia seeds. These meals don't just taste good, They allow your kidneys to recover from yesterday's work instead of reliving the same metabolic battle day after day. But only understanding breakfast isn't enough, because there is another silent killer that dictates whether your kidneys heal or deteriorate. And this killer begins not in your diet, but in the stress patterns that hijack your body the moment your alarm goes off. And as we move into the next part of this journey, I want you to notice how hydration, movement, and nutrition build on one another, each step preparing your kidneys for the next layer of protection. Because the next factor, stress physiology, has the power to constrict kidney blood flow by up to 30%, and most people don't even realize it's happening every single morning. After your kidneys receive the benefits of hydration, movement, and a protective breakfast, there's another force quietly influencing their fate, one you can't see, but one that shapes your kidney health more powerfully than salt, sugar, or protein ever could. And it begins the moment your alarm rings. Most people don't realize that the biggest kidney-damaging trigger each morning isn't food, and it isn't caffeine, it's stress. Stress sends a surge of cortisol and adrenaline through your bloodstream, narrowing the delicate vessels that feed your kidneys, sometimes by as much as 30%. When those vessels constrict, filtration slows, creatinine rises, and your kidneys are forced to work in a state of emergency before your day has even begun. One of my patients, Margaret, a 55-year-old accountant, used to wake up already overwhelmed. Before her feet even touched the floor, she was thinking about deadlines, bills, family responsibilities. Her mind was sprinting while her body was barely awake. Her creatinine climbed slowly over time, despite eating well and exercising. She couldn't understand why she kept declining even though she was doing everything right. It wasn't until we explored her morning routine that the truth became painfully clear. Her kidneys weren't being damaged by food. They were being suffocated by stress hormones. When I taught her diaphragmatic breathing, she was skeptical. "How can breathing fix my kidneys?" she asked, but she tried it anyway. Sitting upright, one hand on her belly, one on her chest, breathing in for a slow count of 4, holding for 4, and exhaling for 6. Within weeks, her blood pressure softened in the mornings, her anxiety eased, and her lab results finally shifted in a positive direction. She told me, "It feels like my body finally learned how to calm down before the day starts." And that's exactly what her kidneys needed. Not a supplement, not a complicated routine, but a simple reconnection with her nervous system. The science is astonishing. Multiple randomized controlled trials show that just 5 to 10 minutes of slow, controlled, belly-led breathing each morning can significantly improve blood pressure, restore parasympathetic function, lower cortisol levels, and even improve markers related to kidney filtration. When you breathe deeply, you activate the vagus nerve, which signals your entire body to transition from stress mode into healing mode. Your kidney vessels relax, blood flow increases, filtration rises, waste moves out of your body instead of lingering and creating damage. And for a moment, your kidneys get to work without fighting a hormonal storm. Let me ask you something directly, because your answer matters more than you think. When your alarm goes off, do you wake up calm or do you wake up tense? Do you breathe deeply or do you immediately start rushing into your day? If you're honest and your answer leans towards stress, you're not alone. Tens of thousands of people watching this right now share the same morning pattern, and your comment might help someone understand they aren't the only one living under that invisible pressure. A calm morning is not a luxury, it's protection. It's the difference between kidneys that struggle and kidneys that function with balance. When your breathing slows, your heart rate steadies, your nervous system shifts into parasympathetic control, and your kidneys finally receive the circulation they need after a night of reduced flow. You're not just lowering stress, you're lowering creatinine, inflammation, and filtration strain. But only understanding this isn't enough, because there is one more morning habit that most people get wrong. And if you don't fix it, it can undo everything we built so far: hydration, movement, nutrition, and even your stress response. As we move into the next part of your morning transformation, I want you to think about how each habit up to this point has slowly taken your kidneys out of survival mode and into healing mode. But the final habit, the one nearly everyone mistakes as harmless, holds the power to either protect your kidneys or push them toward long-term damage without warning. And fixing this last step may be the difference between stable kidney health and needing treatment sooner than you ever imagined. As your body settles into a calmer rhythm, hydrated, gently awakened, and free from the sudden surge of morning stress, there is one more factor that can determine whether your kidneys continue healing or whether they're pushed right back into overload. And it surprises most people because it's something they reach for automatically every morning. Coffee. Not because coffee is inherently evil, but because your kidneys in the first hour of the day are in their most vulnerable state. They're trying to restore fluid balance, regulate blood pressure, and recover from a night of low circulation. And caffeine hits them like a shockwave. For years, one of my longtime patients, David, swore that his morning coffee was the only thing keeping him alert. "I can't function without it," he'd say during every appointment. But his body kept telling a different story. His urine output was inconsistent, his blood pressure spiked mid-morning, and his creatinine hovered stubbornly above normal ranges. Nothing in his diet explained these fluctuations until we looked at his morning beverages more closely. 2 cups of strong coffee before his kidneys were even fully awake. The caffeine acted like a diuretic, pulling water out of his system when he needed hydration the most, forcing the kidneys to work harder to compensate. It also triggered a cortisol spike, undoing the calming effect of his new breathing routine. When I asked him to replace just one of those cups with an herbal tea, nettle tea on some days, dandelion root tea on others, he reluctantly agreed. But the shift was undeniable. Within weeks, his mornings felt smoother. No more mid-morning energy crash, no more blood pressure spikes, and for the first time in years, his creatinine began trending in the right direction. He told me, "I didn't realize coffee was hitting my kidneys harder than it was waking me up." And he was right. For someone with kidney concerns, timing and moderation matter far more than habit. The science behind this is clear. Regular high caffeine intake in the early hours of the day increases cortisol, elevates blood pressure, and strains the tiny vessels responsible for kidney filtration. Caffeine's diuretic effect means your kidneys must work overtime to balance electrolytes and fluid levels, precisely when hydration should be supporting filtration. Herbal teas, on the other hand, offer warmth, comfort, and actual kidney support. Nettle tea contains compounds that help reduce inflammation and support natural detoxification. Dandelion root tea acts as a gentle, non-straining diuretic that helps flush toxins without robbing your body of water. Both help your kidneys recover rather than compete with your morning physiology. Before we continue, let me ask you directly, because your morning habit reveals more about your kidney stress than almost anything else. When you wake up, what is the first thing you drink? Water? Coffee? Tea? Or nothing at all? Your answer might be the missing piece in understanding why your energy, inflammation, and kidney numbers behave the way they do. And if you're brave enough to share honestly in the comments, someone else watching this right now may see themselves in your experience and find the courage to change because of you. Your goal isn't to eliminate coffee forever. It's to be strategic. Replace 1 cup a day this week, then 2 cups next week. Drink your water first, give your kidneys time to wake up, and allow your body to settle into balance before introducing stimulants. Over time, you'll notice something remarkable. Your natural energy returns, not the jittery high of caffeine, but the deep, steady vitality your kidneys have been trying to give you for years. Your body works with you instead of against you. But knowing this alone isn't enough, because the real transformation happens when all 5 morning habits work together, not separately. Hydration, movement, nutrition, stress control, and caffeine strategy form a system, each one amplifying the next, each one pulling your kidneys further out of danger. And when you bring all of these pieces together, something incredible happens. Your creatinine begins to fall, your GFR stabilizes, and your mornings finally start feeling like mornings again. Not battles you have to survive, but opportunities your body can finally embrace. And as we move toward the final chapter of this journey, I want you to understand that everything you've done so far has been building toward a turning point, one that could determine whether your kidneys decline or whether they begin a path of true recovery. You've just learned 5 morning habits that have the power to change the direction of your kidney health. And I want you to remember something important. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. Even choosing just one of these habits tomorrow morning is already a victory, because every small step you take sends a clear message to your body. I'm fighting for my health. I'm choosing my future. And your kidneys respond to that effort more deeply than you know. If today's video helped you understand your body better, do something kind for yourself. Save this video so you can come back to it whenever you need guidance. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share the latest medical insights, kidney protective routines, and practical daily strategies so you never feel lost or alone on your health journey again. Your kidneys don't get days off, so you deserve information that never takes a day off either. Before you go, let me leave you with this. No matter where your numbers are right now, no matter what your doctor has told you, there is always hope when you take consistent, gentle action. Healing doesn't happen all at once. Healing happens in mornings like the one you're about to begin tomorrow. With every glass of water, every stretch, every mindful breath, every thoughtful breakfast, you're building a future where your kidneys work with strength, not struggle. And I promise you this, you're far more capable than you think. Keep going. Keep choosing yourself. And I'll be right here to guide you every step of the way. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll uncover even more ways to protect, strengthen, and heal your kidneys, naturally, safely, and powerfully.